Erik Horne here. We are back. Clinton Yates, Jean-Jacques Taylor, Bill Rhoden, and Jason Reid, and we are talking all things football today. Per usual, we're going to start with Shedeur Sanders before we get to a little bit of college football, a little bit off the beaten path of what we usually talk about. But Shedeur Sanders, Bill, you said, coming out of the Raiders game, and then while we were talking about where we were at the game talking, we were talking about just get wins, just win, just win, baby, something like that. You were there. Not exactly what he did this weekend, but the 49ers going to Cleveland. They get a win against Shedeur Sanders in his second start. I wanted to start with this question, guys. How secure do we think Shedeur's future is with the team? He's 1-1, but again, wins, not exactly a quarterback stat. Bill, you were there. What did you think of his performance? How do you feel about his security going forward?
Well, I don't think he has any security. I think very few rookies do. And remember, I was thinking about this too. There are two winning columns. There's the Shedeur win and there's the team win. The Browns lost, but I thought that Shedeur was okay. And I think he was not the reason they lost. And I think that's what we were talking about in Vegas, where he was kind of the reason they won, but in Cleveland against the 49ers, he was not necessarily the reason they lost. He may have missed a throw, but he played, given the conditions and all that, I thought he played okay. I'm just still confounded, and I'm waiting for you guys. I'm thinking all the way down, is this guy, how good is he? I mean, how good is he? Is it still the hype? I mean, even in the interview room, he's got like a camera guy following him around, So it's all part, I think, in his, and maybe it's a generational thing, this is all about content remaining visible, viable, and all that. So I guess my short answer is that I don't think he's the reason why they lost. And immediately, they announced
as a starter.
They announced he's going to be the starter. There was no, I don't know. He was asked, Kevin Stefanski asked, will Shedeur get to start? He said yes, and that's it. So we'll see. And I think it's a perfect matchup because they're playing the Tennessee Titans. And we were talking about this. I'm really intrigued by this matchup because you've got the first round draft pick, Cam Ward, and I'm sure Shedeur in his mind thinks he should be the first round draft. So I think this is a pretty good matchup of equals. And maybe we'll come away from that game thinking now we know why this guy was drafted 1 and you were drafted 5. So my thing is that the Browns lost. I don't think Shedeur lost.
The problem with what happened on Sunday is that it created far more questions about the Browns than it did about Shedeur Sanders. And all of this stuff structurally we've talked about, Reid, regarding is Stefanski making the calls? Is Barry going to tell him, hey, open up the playbook? Or is it going to be a situation where, again, everybody just fights to prove that they weren't wrong, which is ultimately not productive for the Browns at all? Because if you say, all right, look, we're going to pick a first-round quarterback, that tells you that, A, you think the rest of the team is okay in terms of offensively, when Jerry Jeudy's out here not even making efforts on passes and then getting in people's faces, which pissed me off as an aside. And second, you're using up draft capital on things that, like, you could be using them on otherwise. And that's where it's like, at some point you have to make a decision on this, and you can't just say we're taking best availables left and right, because obviously you don't know what you're doing from a development standpoint, never mind who you're acquiring from other teams. So like, that's where this gets interesting to me, because it's not just about whether or not Shedeur is good enough. It's about whether or not the Browns actually know how to put together a roster, because otherwise I would just as soon see him go. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, like, fine, trade Shedeur on draft day to some team that knows what they're doing. I don't know where your pick you're going to get is in that regard. Does it go up from a 5? Perhaps. You know what I'm saying? He puts together a couple of games, perhaps. Maybe somebody likes him. Maybe some old coach heard of something that they think they can do with him. But I don't think it comes down nearly as much to just, is he talented enough to play for the team next year? Because obviously he is. I mean, that's pretty evident.
Well, see, this is what we've been talking about. It's all about, to me, it's always about what organization drafts you. When you're a quarterback, that really gives you a chance to succeed. Like, it don't really matter who you stick back there. They have no receivers. You play from behind all the time. It's not even conducive to playing quarterback. And so when you're a young guy trying to show what you can do, this is the worst possible situation. None of it is positive in terms of helping you show what you can do because of the circumstance that you're in. So your best thing is to do what Bill said. You play the game as best you can. And at the end of the day, nobody can say, you screwed this thing up so much that we didn't lose. That, you're the reason why we lost. And you just try to hold on until you can get in a situation, whether it's in Cleveland or somewhere else, where at least you got competent wide receivers, you got a competent offensive scheme, and you can spend some time playing a regular game.
Mm-hmm. Now, Jake, before we keep talking about Shedeur, we were talking about something on the chat, the group chat, that I thought was an interesting question. That it seems almost like it's a week to week question now about what the Browns are going to do in the draft. Clinton mentioned it briefly about drafting best player available, things like that, when you don't really have kind of a plan. Well, the plan comes together a lot easier when you have a quarterback. Jay, are the Browns drafting a quarterback in 2026, whether Shedeur balls out or not?
You mean just in the first round or period?
Well, period. I think
I would say within the first 2 days. I think the first 2 days would be where that makes a difference. Third, fourth round is a different discussion entirely, I'd say.
Well, I can tell you what an NFL offensive coach told me about the Browns last week. He said to me, they have 2 backup quarterbacks on their roster. Now, you can agree with that or disagree with it.
What about the nasty man?
Okay, all right, man. We're getting distracted. Come on. Yeah. Goodness gracious.
Deshaun Watson wasn't. We were texting about the 2 rookies.
Yeah.
And what he said to me is that, the throw Shedeur made in the Raiders game, he gave him that. But he said to me that he's sure that the film wasn't going to be good because this guy knows some of the stuff that Cleveland likes to run. This last game, horrible weather conditions, what have you. But I just think that based on what this guy said to me, if he's right that they have 2 backup quarterbacks in their roster, they're drafting a quarterback this year. I think the best thing that Shedeur can do, how many games you got left? 4 or 5? 5?
4, I think.
4? I think the best thing Shedeur can do is
5, right?
Is it 5? Well, whatever it is, 4 or 5, is to go out there and put the best stuff he can put on film. The best stuff that he could show either Stefanski in the offseason when they self-scout and evaluate what they need to do, or a new coach who comes in. But at least from what I've been told, that they're gonna draft a quarterback, because if you feel you only have 2 backups on the roster and they're both rookies, well, that's not a starter. So I think they are going to draft somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know, man. I'm not disagreeing with you. I feel like I hate.
It's not. Wait. It's not me.
No, I know. I'm replying to what you're saying. I'm not replying to you. I can't stand that is the possibility of the situation for either kid. You know what I'm saying? Because this is the problem with not having any cohesion at the top. Is you're constantly in what I like to call mission creep mode. You can't just set a plan and either execute and succeed or fail. You're always making excuses as well. Well, I can't do this because I had to do that. I can't do this. I can't stand people like that in real life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Fine, as far as how they're concerned on a football team. And it feels like that's how the Browns are operating. That one person that can never tell you exactly where they are before you meet up. They can never tell you an exact time. They're always, I'm a little bit away, or I'm getting ready to pull up. Like, yo, dog, you know what I'm saying? Tell me the name on the freaking Uber and tell me what time it says on the arrival time. State a plan, either execute it or don't. And the Browns are going to have to do that at some point, or else these fans are going to revolt because, they deserve better.
But let me ask you this. I mean, Jerry, you wrote the book. You did the great doc with Q, and both Q and you have been very definitive from the beginning that you thought that Shedeur was drafted where he was supposed to be drafted. And so I guess I'm curious. That's why I'm intrigued by this game coming up on Sunday. Mm-hmm. Why was Cam Ward drafted first overall? What does he have that Shedeur does not have? And you know what I'm saying? Why was he drafted 1? And is there a good reason he was drafted 1 and Shedeur was drafted 5?
The knock on Shedeur, let's put aside all of the pre-draft stuff we heard about his attitude in meetings. Let's put that stuff aside. The knock against Shedeur is He doesn't have the biggest arm in the world. Now, again, I'm just telling you what people were saying in the NFL. And athletically, he's not that great, and he doesn't read it quick enough. Now, Cam Ward has not played well this season. There's no way around it. Most rookie quarterbacks do not play well, and then he's not in a good situation with that team and that roster. The reason Cam Ward was picked number one, though, is because people looked at his film and they said, you know what? For what's available in this draft, he's got the arm strength and he does enough things that we want to see on the film that he's the guy. Shedeur, again, lack of athleticism, lack of arm strength, and takes too long to process it. And part of that taking too long to process it is him doing all these, scrambles 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage. My thing all along has been that, I was very, I wrote this. I didn't think Shedeur dropped to where he dropped to because of racism. I thought that Shedeur was picked where a lot of people I had talked to told me he would be picked. Now, Quincy was very adamant and very definitive in his opinion that that's where he should have been drafted. Bottom line on the whole thing is the film will dictate what happens with him moving forward. And to this point, after two starts, and again, it's unfair to evaluate him after two starts, no first team reps, the whole, to that point. But it's going to be what it's going to be. And he's going to have to put stuff on film that either, impresses Stefanski, a new head coach, or someone else. Because people don't trade for people at that position who don't have great film. It's just bottom line.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys, let's make a quick transition to college football. And, this is the topic du jour right now with all the movement in college football, the biggest of which is Lane Kiffin going to LSU from Ole Miss. Ole Miss will presumably be a college football playoff team once everything settles. And he's leaving that for an LSU program that's in disarray. But it's also the way he's left. It's also the places he's been. It's also the manner with which Lane purports himself that makes this such a interesting and kind of juicy, gossipy kind of story. So I asked the question, who actually wins in this scenario? Who can we look at as a winner in the saga of Lane Kiffin? And I guess we're talking about this as an Andscape story because, at the center of it is young black men playing college football who are going to have to be the ones who have to either deal with the fallout of Ole Miss, have to have Lane Kiffin as their coach. But who's the winner here? Like, who exactly comes out of this looking good?
It's a good question. Outside of Lane, I don't know that you have many winners. I talked about this on my radio show yesterday, and I said, if LSU fans think that Lane won't jump to Alabama at the first chance he gets, y'all are nuts because this is what this dude does. And I don't know how much we as a college football society gain from another Lane Kiffin immaturity tour. I don't know that whatever it is that he's never won anything, dog. We tend to forget this. There are zero rings on his hand.
Right, zero.
So it's not like, with LeBron, for example, and I'm only using this as an example of people that have gone a lot of places in a lot of controversial ways. Like, at least he gets the championships when he's there. That's not the case at all with Lane. It's just a story, couple more rumors about where he might go, never mind what's happening on campus, and then he's gone. And at some point, I don't know what the value of the Lane Kiffin experience is. And I'm very interested to see how it works at a program that believes itself to be the best in the country. Because when he goes to Alabama, which I personally think is what his goal is, it's going to be hilarious. And I think everybody's going to look around and say, why did we ever waste our time with this guy? But it'll be 15 years down the road. He'll be rich as hell, and he'll be on TV telling everybody else what they should do.
Right. Yeah. Now, I thought you were going in a direction. To me, this is emphasizing where it just emphasized the lack of black head coaches in the Power Five universe. I think outside of Franklin, I'm like, man, where are the black head coaches, and where's even the pipeline? Who are even the folk? We get back to Kiffin, but this is what I was thinking.
Bill, to answer your question, one of them's at the outpost. One of them's at the outpost called Oregon State, and God bless that brother who because that is a
That's
very
the new
difficult.
New Mexico.
You're
You
not
used
a
to
big
get the
game
job in
film
New
guy?
Mexico and go 9-55, and your career was over, but at least you got a nice check.
And look, shout out James Franklin. He got a job right off the jump. You know, he
Right.
had people waiting to give him a job. So
Yeah.
Right.
that's a good hire for Virginia Tech.
Right.
That's a great hire for Virginia Tech. That
Yeah.
that hire is going to transform the ACC. Not to get too far into this, but when you hire a guy like James Franklin at Virginia Tech, who's got a not exactly a blue blood, but what I call a traditional program, and you've also got a legitimate regional recruiting advantage, something that he already had. That Vitek being good forces everybody else in the ACC to look at themselves and say, "Oh, right, you know what I'm saying? Like we can't just be screwing around and maybe win a conference and slide to the playoffs." That was one of the most important moves in college football this year. Never mind for that school personally.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry to
And
cut you off, Bill.
yeah. You know, and so to answer your first question, I mean, Kiffin wins, and I know that there was a lot of debate in our chat about the ethics and all that. Man, we're in this environment we're in, we're beyond ethics, man. The highest value is money. In the environment that we are in now, the highest value is money, not ethics, not morals. So to that, Kiffin wins. Like you said, Clint, I mean, he's going to end up with a boatload of money, you know, and he wins. I remember a few years back, Saban kind of had this label of being of wanderlust. Remember when he was at LSU? Then he went to the Dolphins, and then Alabama. He wasn't a jerk like Kiffin, but he people were saying that he had that kind of wanderlust. What's he looking for? So I'm not as upset about that. I just says another white boy who gets over, gets over big. And maybe equality is when you've got a brother who gets over big like this, equal mediocrity.
Right.
Jason Reid, that's your Trojan, your brief Trojan football brother, Lane Kiffin, making moves.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'll say about Kiffin. It's true as a head coach, he hasn't won a national championship, but he won 3 as the lead assistant on at both at USC and Alabama. They've been playing football at Ole Miss since 1902. This is the best 3-year stretch they've ever had is with him as the head coach. I believe there are 5 coaches who have changed teams right now. Major programs, and I get that I get Kiffin's history, and I get that Kiffin, Kiffin's reputation, but the reality of it is these other coaches also asked. Several of them also asked to coach their teams in the playoffs, and I believe 2 of them are actually going to get a chance to do it.
James Madison, I think.
I get why LSU was not going to allow that. I get why Kiffin asked to do it. I get the outrage by the Ole Miss fans, but I just think that to outside of Mississippi, to be enraged about this, I just find it humorous. These college coaches make $10 to $15 million a year. They play 16 games a year now. The NIL and the portal is effective to better than NFL free agency. This is what it is now. I mean, this is what this sport is, and I just think I get the Ole Miss fans being hurt because this guy is leaving. I don't get chasing the guy down on the road trying to run him off. I mean, that's crazy. Like,
okay, hold on.
Yeah.
That is crazy, but like this whole, and we talked about this a little bit. This whole idea of, well, that's the business. What are these people there for then? What are they rooting for? What are they filling up the stadiums for if they don't have any sense of connectivity to the human beings that is the difference between college and the pros, is that maybe, just maybe, you'll see that guy at the bar. You can go to the coach's show that's at wherever the local spot is if you're living in town or somewhere in the area. I personally do think the football has suffered as a result of things like this. And in the case of Mississippi State, like, dude, the playoff comes out tonight. We're taping at 11 a.m. Pacific on a Tuesday. These polls come out in 3 hours. You're telling me that Mississippi might not fall because they don't have their coach? They probably will. Those are football matters, well beyond the economics of it, that I think there's a what's the word I'm looking for? There is a tangible loss in my opinion, to what the quality of the competition is as a result of coaches moving around all the time. I really do believe that.
Yeah,
but that, let me just one thing, Bill. Just what just Clinton said. I don't disagree with you, but that's not a Lane Kiffin issue. That's a
Sure.
college football issue.
Sure.
right.
And my whole thing about it is that I'm not dismissing what I totally get what you're saying on a human personal level. And look, man, I went to USC, so like I greatly enjoyed Carroll's run there when they were winning championships. And when things went south, like it's disappointing. But I'm not getting in my car and driving somebody off to try to drive somebody off the side of
No,
the road
that's
because
insane.
they left.
Yeah.
I mean,
that is admittedly insane.
and I think if you really look at Kiffin is who he is, I get what you're saying on that too. But if you really look at this, what was he supposed to do? Not take this job? I
Right.
mean, here's the thing: if some, what's that?
You can take the job,
Yeah.
but but you're not gonna stay here and coach. I mean, that's just kind of basic. And to take the job and kind of be I don't know, kind of swarmy about the whole process.
That's a good word.
And then say, hey, I want to coach the team too. It's like, come on, man. And even if it was a situation where you think about it, you ain't the kind of guy I can let coach the team, because you're gonna be, when you leave, you're gonna take everything with you. You're not, like he said, well, there were guardrails in place. Lane has been a rule breaker his whole life. He don't care about no guardrails.
Right.
So
you're not taking my girl to the movies when I'm out of town, Jack. That ain't happening.
Yeah. And these other guys, they're making promotions. Like Tulane going to Florida, dude, you ain't never recruiting the same kind of player at Tulane in Florida. So that's good for us to show, hey, look what happens. Now we can get another good coach to say, hey, use us as a stepping stone to go get a Power 5 job, leave us in good shape, and we'll root you on, my friend. But this ain't Lane Kiffin.
I can't believe we're wringing our hands with this sort of moral outrage. What's your guy's name? Who's the Ohio State coach?
Hey, don't bring me into this, man. Don't bring it in there.
All right.
No. He knows exactly where I'm going. He was just inducted into the Florida.
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer.
Urban Meyer.
And I'm listening to this. I said, what a morass. I mean, what are we talking about here, man? So Clinton, I know you. I mean, this is we've been in this. This guy gets inducted. He gets inducted into the Hall of Fame.
That's bigger than me.
All bets are off, man.
We understand what college football is these days, man. And so it just, the situation is set up that it is what it is.
Do you think Ole Miss has a chance to win the national championship? Yes or no?
No.
Right. You did with Lane. That's the point. That sucks, dude. Period sucks.
Well,
hey, Reid, you going to give us your black quarterback of the week before you run out of here?
Yeah. Bryce Young.
Damn it. That's what
there you go. Good one. Good one.
I'll expand on it.
Three touchdown passes. You do that, Clinton.
Yes.
3 touchdown passes, managed the game well. Got to go, fellas. It's been a blast.
All right, Jimmy.
Okay.
I'll expand on it since he's gone. Not only did his performance do well, but that is the most schizophrenic team in the NFL right now. The Panthers have beat a couple people. The Panthers have also lost 2 or 3 games by more than 20 points. But Bryce Young has been up and down, but I feel that they also have one of the better relationships between head coach and quarterback I've seen between a team that's sorry in a long time. And that's kind of what I like most about what's going on with the Panthers. I'm not going to go so far as to say, oh, the Panthers are for real, you know what I mean, and all this, and they're going to make a playoff run and beat somebody. No. But Dave Canales has done a great job, Latino brother, by the way, with managing that situation. And I just like where the Panthers are right now. They're finally above 500, and I'm with Jay Reid. He is my black quarterback of the week.
He might have been everybody's black quarterback of the week.
Well,
JJT.
For me, it's got to be the hometown guy, Dak Prescott, man.
Let's go.
Engineered wins over Philly, KC on Thursday on Thanksgiving Day. And the thing about Dak is he's got his mobility back. He can move around in the pocket. He's reached that point where your intellect has matched up with your athleticism. And so you got all the keys to the answer to the test. And now he's got weapons. He's playing great football. And now it's just a matter of, can they somehow, some way get into the postseason where he can put the true narrative to rest that he can't play in the playoffs?
Yeah, mine is, I was going to have 2. I know a little bit is one. I was going to say Caleb Williams. because I think that he's got a steep hill to climb, just
Yeah.
reputationally, whatever. So I'm really proud of just how he's kind of hanging. But my black quarterback is Tyrod Taylor. You know, uh, old
Who's my
school
runner-up?
brother. Old school brother comes in, leads the hapless Jets to a victory. He scrambled for one, threw
Wild
for
game
one.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like, yeah, Tyrod, give it up. And actually, having spoken to him, he really is aware of the culture, the black culture of quarterbacking. He was a great mentor to a lot of young guys. In fact, he even suggested that he wishes during the Super Bowl or somewhere in the future that they would have all the black quarterbacks would get together and they would acknowledge each other. So I
Hold
like
up. That's
what,
a great idea.
yeah.
Bill, why don't you start that?
Okay, let's work on it.
I
But no,
mean, you know what I'm saying?
yeah,
People
no.
come up, people show up to see you. These brothers will show up if you ask them to.
Well, I think he needs it, but I like the idea that he's even thinking
Right, right,
like
right.
that about acknowledging the collective. And he knows all the right people, Shaq and all that stuff. But anyway, long answer is that my quarterback of the week is black quarterback of the week is Tyrod Taylor.
Quickly, if we're doing runner-ups, I'm gonna throw Shador in there for getting it right in that press conference and not falling for the bait that
Yeah.
was asked of him. He was earnest about it too. He didn't get mad. He was just like, "Yo, bro, we don't move like that around here." And that is the part of Shador's personality that I repeat is the best part of what he brings to a team. Forget about football. There's a leadership element there that you just can't recreate, and that would be my runner-up.
Good choices, guys. Real quick, my pick's going to be since everybody else picked all the rest of the guys that I was going to pick, like Bryce Young. I'm going to go with Jordan Love, and it speaks to the anonymity of a Jordan Love because we don't talk about this guy very often. We just kind of just go week to week and just talk about all these different guys, Jaden Daniels, whoever. Jordan Love throws 4 touchdown passes, beats Detroit on the road, got Green Bay a game out of first place in the NFC North, one of the toughest divisions in the league, and nobody says a thing about it. Everybody's talking about Micah Parsons. So you know what, Jordan Love, today's for you, man. I got you. I got you. You're in that American Fidelity Insurance commercial. Nobody even knows who the hell you are. I know who you are. I recognized you. You tell those kids to go long, they're like, I don't even know who's throwing me the ball, but I'm gonna catch it. Like, hey, I got you, Jordan Love.
That's funny.
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
good.
But
Yeah,
hey,
no.
guys, thanks for joining us once again. We will see you all next week, and make sure to check us out on Andscape.com and on YouTube. And thanks and good night.
Ciao.
Peace.